You've been lied to about aging, and the lie was repeated so often that it started to feel like truth. You were told wrinkles are inevitable, that thinning skin is just part of getting older, that after a certain age nothing really changes no matter what you do, and you accepted it, not because you truly believed it, but because you were exhausted from trying things that didn't work. Deep down you know something has been off, because if castor oil alone was enough you wouldn't still be searching. Stops to question how it actually works. Yes, it's an excellent sealant. Yes, it helps reduce moisture loss. But sealing is not the same as rebuilding. Protection is not the same as stimulation. And aging skin doesn't need to be wrapped in heaviness. It needs to be awakened. When you rely on castor oil alone, you are asking a guard to do the job of a builder. That's not how repair happens. Here's the brutal part. If castor oil alone truly rebuilt collagen, your wrinkles would already be softer. Your skin would already look more responsive. You wouldn't be looking for answers right now. The fact that you're still searching is proof that something is missing. And it's not effort. It's understanding. Skin does not change because you put something on it. It changes because that something communicates with it. Aging happens when communication slows down, when cells stop receiving the message to repair, to strengthen, to renew. Castor oil does not speak that language on its own. It sits, it coats, it waits, and waiting is the opposite of regeneration. Another hard truth most people avoid is this. Thickness can work against you. Heavy oils can block penetration when used incorrectly. They can create a barrier so strong that nothing underneath gets through. So instead of nourishment, reaching deeper layers, everything stays on the surface. The skin looks shiny, but underneath nothing shifts. No collagen signal, no elasticity support, just a glossy illusion. This is why so many routines fail quietly. There's no dramatic reaction, no irritation, no obvious damage, just slow disappointment, week after week of doing the same thing and wondering why the mirror never rewards your effort. That's not bad luck, that's a mismatched approach. And let's be clear, your skin is not broken. It's understimulated. It's been treated gently but not intelligently. Aging skin does not respond to laziness wrapped in tradition. It responds to precision, to balance, to oils that penetrate, signal, and then get sealed properly. When you skip that balance, you stall your progress without realizing it. This isn't about abandoning castor oil. It's about putting it in its proper role, a supporting role, a finishing role, not the entire strategy. When you stop asking one product to do 10 jobs, results stop fighting you. Your routine becomes intentional instead of habitual. And that's when change begins to show. If you're willing to be honest with yourself, you'll admit this isn't about oil at all. It's about how long you've been settling for good enough. And the moment you stop settling is the moment your skin finally has a reason to respond. Here's the truth that most people never want to face. Wrinkles don't deepen simply because years pass. Time doesn't carve lines into your face by itself. What actually happens is quieter and far more uncomfortable to admit. Your skin slowly stops producing what keeps it firm, flexible, and alive. Collagen production slows, elastic fibers weaken, repair signals fade. And when that internal support system collapses, the surface follows. Lines form not because you age, but because rebuilding stopped. This is where the biggest misunderstanding lies. You were taught to focus on what you can see instead of what's missing underneath. You chase smoothness on the surface, hoping shine will hide structure loss. But skin doesn't work from the outside in. It works from the inside out. When collagen drops, no oil, no matter how natural, can magically reverse that unless it supports the rebuilding process. And castor oil by itself does not trigger that process. Believing it does keeps you trapped in a loop. You apply, you wait, you hope, and when nothing changes, you blame age instead of the method. That belief slowly teaches you helplessness. It convinces you that decline is unavoidable, that effort doesn't matter, that you should expect less from your skin every year, that mindset ages you faster than any wrinkle Eve could. Another hard realization most people avoid is this. Collagen loss doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, month by month, when skin isn't challenged to rebuild, when circulation is ignored, when penetration is poor, when oils sit on the surface instead of communicating with deeper layers. By the time wrinkles look sudden, the damage has already been happening for a long time. And no, this is not about blaming you. It's about correcting what you were never taught. Aging skin is not incapable of producing collagen. It's unmotivated. Skin responds to signals, not wishes. When it receives the right fatty acids, the right stimulation, the right environment, it adapts. Slowly, gradually, honestly. But when those signals are missing, skin conserves energy. It does the minimum. And the minimum looks like sagging, thinning, and lines that feel permanent. Here's what should change in your thinking. Stop asking whether wrinkles are normal. Start asking whether your skin is being supported. Stop assuming that gentler means better. Aging skin often needs smarter, not softer. It needs ingredients that penetrate, encourage circulation, and remind cells how to function, not just sit comfortably on top. The moment you understand this, something shifts. Wrinkles stop feeling like a verdict and start feeling like feedback. Feedback that says, I need support, not panic, are repeated. It trains you to disengage, to apply products without belief, to expect disappointment before results even have time to form. And skin senses that disengagement through inconsistency. When routines are random, skin never adapts. When care is occasional, skin never commits to change. This is where responsibility comes in, not guilt, responsibility. You don't need extreme measures. You don't need to punish your skin. You need to feed it correctly and consistently. Oils that penetrate must come before oils that seal. Circulation must be encouraged before protection is locked in. Repair must be invited before preservation makes sense. When the order is wrong, results collapse. And let's correct another lie. Aging skin does not need to be handled like it will break. It needs respect, not fear. Gentle doesn't mean ineffective, but cautious to the point of doing nothing is still doing nothing. Skin thrives on intelligent care, thoughtful pressure, purposeful ingredients, repeated signals over time. When you understand this, you stop feeling powerless. Wrinkles stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like feedback. Feedback that says, I need more than surface care. Feedback that says, I'm still capable, but I need direction. And direction changes outcomes. Your skin didn't betray you. It adapted to what you gave it. And adaptation works both ways. Change the input and the response changes. Slowly, subtly, but undeniably. And that truth should empower you, not scare you. Pay close attention because this is where most people finally miss the point. Castor oil is not the hero of your routine. Treating it like one is the mistake that keeps results out of reach. Castor oil does one job exceptionally well. It seals, it anchors moisture, it forms a protective barrier, and that's valuable. But value does not mean completeness. A lock is useless without something worth protecting behind it. When castor oil is used alone, it behaves like a lid placed on an empty container. It closes everything off without first putting anything inside. The skin feels coated, sometimes even smoother at first, but underneath, nothing changes. No new signal is sent. Everything shifts. It stops being the main act and becomes the closer. It locks in the work that was already done. It preserves gains instead of pretending to create them. And that distinction matters more than you've been led to believe. This is the moment to change how you think. Stop asking one ingredient to do everything. Stop measuring effectiveness by how heavy something feels. Start respecting function, order, and balance. Because when care becomes intentional instead of habitual, skin responds. Castor oil isn't failing you. It's being misused. And once you correct that, the results stop fighting back. This is where the shift actually happens. And it's quieter than you expect. There's no sudden miracle, no overnight reversal, no dramatic moment where everything changes at once. What changes is communication. When castor oil is combined with the right penetrating oil, the skin finally receives a message it understands. Not comfort, not coverage, a signal. Penetrating oils move differently. They don't sit and wait, they travel. They slip past the surface and reach the layers where decisions are made, where repair is triggered, where collagen production is influenced. When that signal arrives, the skin doesn't panic. It responds. Slowly, intelligently, the way biology is designed to. This is why mixing matters, not because one oil is better, but because together they complete a process. One speaks, one seals, one invites repair, one protects the effort. Without both, the message is incomplete. With both, the skin stops guessing and starts adapting. At first, the changes are subtle. The skin feels more responsive, less tight, less dull. Fine lines don't disappear, but they soften. Texture improves. Elasticity begins to return in small, honest ways. These aren't cosmetic tricks. They're structural responses. And structural responses take time, not hype. This is where patience becomes your advantage. Most people quit right before adaptation begins. They expect instant proof. But skin doesn't work on deadlines. It works on repetition. Each consistent application reinforces the message, rebuild, don't retreat. Over time, the skin believes it. And belief at the cellular level looks like improvement. Another truth worth hearing is this. Once skin starts responding, it becomes more efficient. Circulation improves. Nutrient delivery improves. The routine starts working harder without you doing more. That's not magic. That's alignment. When the right inputs meet consistency, the body does the rest. But none of this happens if you treat the process casually. Random use creates random results. Light pressure creates light response. Occasional effort creates occasional improvement. Skin needs clarity. Clear signals, clear order, clear intention. When you provide that, it stops resisting. This is also where many people sabotage themselves. They mix the right oils, but rush the process. They apply without presence, without massage, without allowing absorption. Care becomes another task to finish instead of a signal to deliver. And rush signals are weak signals. The shift isn't in the bottle. It's in how you approach the routine. When you slow down, when you apply with purpose, when you respect the sequence, you stop fighting your skin. You work with it. And cooperation always outperforms force. What you're building isn't perfection. It's momentum. Momentum toward better texture, better resilience, slower wrinkle progression. Momentum that compounds quietly day by day. And once momentum is on your side, aging stops feeling like a downhill slide and starts feeling manageable. This is how real change begins. Not loudly, not instantly, but consistently, intelligently, and on your terms. Here's the truth that most people refuse to face, because it strips away comfort. If you expect miracles about discipline, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Skin doesn't regenerate from hope, from sporadic application or half-hearted routines. Wrinkle reduction isn't a bonus for effort. It's the direct result of consistency and intentionality. Anything less is a waste of your time and your energy. No oil works if it is applied randomly. No skin responds if it is handled without purpose. Applying castor oil one night, skipping the next, or doing it without understanding the sequence is like planting a seed in barren soil and expecting a tree to grow overnight. It won't. The difference between stagnation and transformation is not luck, it's reliability. Your skin learns to trust you only when you show up the same way, day after day. Another harsh realization: care without awareness is worse than neglect. You could spend years slathering products onto your face, thinking you're doing everything right, while missing the key mechanics that actually drive change. Oils must penetrate, massage must stimulate, protection must follow repair. Skip any of these and you are fooling yourself. The reflection in the mirror doesn't lie. Your routine does. Discipline isn't punishment, it's respect. Respect for what your skin actually needs instead of what you wish it would do. Mature skin requires signals, repetition, and patience. Miss any of these, and improvement becomes impossible, no matter how many products you use. The brutal truth is that laziness disguised as ritual will never yield results. Skin reads consistency, not effort. You may think that daily attention is tedious, or that results should appear instantly, but that's wishful thinking. Real change is quiet. It is subtle. It accumulates over weeks, months, and yes, years. But it compounds. Small actions repeated with precision lead to a visible difference. This is the system your skin has been waiting for. Finally, this discipline is empowering, not restrictive. Once you accept it, you stop blaming time, genetics, or inevitable aging. You reclaim control over what is actually controllable. Wrinkles don't have to define your face. Texture doesn't have to betray your age. Every application, every careful massage, every consistent night routine sends a clear signal. Repair, strengthen, respond. No shortcuts, no excuses, no temporary fixes masquerading as solutions. Discipline is the price of transformation, and it's a price your skin is willing to pay, as long as you're willing to commit. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything, the one most people never realize. Stop chasing products. Stop expecting that a single oil, cream, or serum will somehow undo years of neglect. Stop believing that more layers equal better results. That approach is built on convenience, not biology. Real change comes when you start thinking in function, not in sensation. Ask yourself one question before you apply anything. Does this only sit on my skin, or does it tell my skin to rebuild? That question alone separates rituals from results. It forces awareness. It forces purpose. It turns care into strategy instead of habit. And it teaches your skin to respond intelligently, not passively. This is the cruel truth most people avoid. Familiarity is not effectiveness. Just because you've done something for years doesn't mean it works. Just because it feels luxurious doesn't mean it communicates. Just because it smells natural doesn't mean it triggers repair. If your skin isn't responding, you're being lied to by routine, by assumption, by marketing, and you know it. The small shift is deceptively powerful. Begin looking at routines as conversations with your skin. What messages are you sending? Are you telling it to repair, to strengthen, to awaken dormant collagen? Or are you simply patting comfort on the surface, hoping the problem will vanish? Conversation requires intention. Conversation requires order. Conversation requires commitment. Another insight: the skin never acts against you. It acts according to the signals it receives. If you've been frustrated with stagnation, the fault is not your skin, but in the instructions you've been giving it. And instructions are easy to fix. Mix the right oils in the right sequence. Apply with consistent intention. Respect timing. Support penetration. Encourage repair. Lock it in afterward. That's the difference between hope and results. This is the awakening most people resist. It's uncomfortable because it removes excuses. It forces responsibility. It forces you to acknowledge that shortcuts, half measures, and rituals without understanding do not work. But it's also liberating. Once you realize this, you gain control. You stop chasing illusions. You start building real improvement. The smallest mindset shift, from passive application to purposeful strategy, can change the trajectory of your skin's health. You stop treating aging as inevitable and start treating it as manageable. You stop expecting products to do everything and start understanding how to make them work. And that awareness, subtle, quiet, but unwavering, becomes the foundation for real, lasting transformation.